Welcome back to the channel. Just come back from delivering Elsie May II. Those of you who've watched previous videos will have hopefully seen Elsie May I. It's been a busy few weeks getting the final painting and signwriting finished. The signwriting did take a long time and we was doing a slightly different system to normal. This has probably been, no, it actually has been the highest spec narrowboat we've ever painted. When Judith and Nigel came to sell their first boat, we discussed at length, what was good, what was bad, anything they could improve. There wasn't really much that they complained about. One of the things being, obviously, the epoxy system is fantastic, but it does go chalky and grey. Is there anything we could do to prevent that? And also, obviously, the painting and the finish and the gloss level was still very high, but the signwriting unfortunately had deteriorated, gone quite dull. So they said, is there anything we can do to stop that? There was some engineering bits 12 years ago when their boat was originally built. Solar panels wasn't a big thing, so we've added solar panels. The slightly upgraded heater, temperature sensor and thermostat and timer, so that was slightly different to their old Webasto unit. That was just literally a 7-day timer, so that was a one I hadn't realised, but yeah, a little upgrade for those. Slightly different worktops, slightly different dinette, which we discussed in the previous video. So not massive amounts, but lots of small little things that they just thought would improve. They've got a freezer on board now. Just a few more comforts and peace of mind that the boat's easy to use. Less maintenance pretty much. So yeah, unfortunately the video is going to be, this one is going to be quite a lot about the paint system again. I promise all you electricians and all your people who like electric propulsion, the next boat will be more focused on electric propulsion and electronics and stuff. So going to just discuss slightly now the difference in the paint that we've done, because it is quite different. We've actually used an anti-fouling on a narrowboat, which isn't really the norm, but I'll give you my opinion on why we chose to do that and the benefits. Hopefully, we've obviously never done this system before, so we don't know how many benefits there be and the longevity of the anti-foul. Obviously, speaking to paint manufacturers and reps, and they also wanted the boat shot blasting because they had so much trust after having Elsie May I in the epoxy system. We've all seen on previous videos, after 12 years it's still in pristine condition. So that, it did come out the water once, but it wasn't even that bad when it came out, and it could have probably gone longer with just the epoxy system. But obviously, like I say, you want to make it look nice and fresh and new again, just cosmetically pleasing to the eye. So first of all, and also I suppose checking underneath, because that's not many people do shot blast or paint under there. So again, it's good practice to take it out the water and just inspect that and make sure that's not gone particularly bad. After speaking to Judith and Nigel, and they said, well, we'd be quite happy to pay for the extra to shot blast underneath and put the epoxy system underneath the boat, which sort of got me thinking, well, if you've epoxied all under and it's all sealed, the only downside to that obviously is the greyness as it goes chalky over the years, and the algae growth. So you're going to want to take it out again to pressure wash it, clean it, get rid of the algae. So I started thinking about an anti-foul, which isn't really the done thing on a narrowboat, but I thought, well, I can't really see why not. So we've shot blasted it to SA 2.5, then we've put an initial Jotun product, Jotun Mastic 90, onto the shot blasted steel. That's underneath and on the sides and right up to the top rubbing straight. Then we've sanded that back, and then because I wanted to use the overcoat window to apply the anti-foul, but so we've put on a secondary epoxy primer, just so we really know it's belt and braces, that we've got more epoxy under there. So we're hoping, like Elsie May, the first one, our epoxy system's getting at least 6 or 7 years life expectancy out of the epoxy on its own. So now we've put over 100 microns of a anti-foul as well. We're hoping that that should last at least 3 or 4 seasons just on the anti-foul. If you put that together, you're looking at 10 years of protection really. And the anti-foul, once that's dissipated away, if you did choose to take it out the water early, it's very quick and easy. It's only a single pack product, just to put another coating over the top. People out there, obviously, anti-fouls in seagoing boats, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who know more about anti-fouls than me. We don't claim to be experts at seagoing vessels and stuff, anti-fouls. It's not something we use on a regular basis. Some of our Dutch barges have had them. We've used copper coat in the past and different sort of anti-fouls, but I'm no expert on this field. But I just felt that if a boat can last 2 to 3 seasons with a good anti-foul, that's either a riverboat or a seagoing vessel, on the inland waterways, canals, and a boat doing 2 miles an hour, my feeling is that that anti-foul will probably last 4 to 5 years. Obviously, we've got a long time to wait to find out that. That's my feeling. So the epoxy underneath we know can last 6 or 7 years. We've then got an anti-foul, which is it's a self-polishing anti-foul, which will basically start losing parts of the coating all the time, which takes away all the algae and keeps the hull clean. In theory, I mean, they would say on a big seagoing boat, it helps with fuel efficiency. I'm not sure on a little narrowboat that's going to work that well, but in theory it will, because you've got a clean hull, so it goes through the water much cleaner and smoother. But it was more about the life expectancy, that we can leave the boat in, I'm hoping 8-9 years, and it still looks pretty clean and tidy. It's not a big deal if, especially if we've dropped the boat in today at Calcut, they can take the boat out the water within half an hour. So what we probably will do to make another video so we could see exactly what has happened in maybe another 18 months, 2 years, we may take the boat out the water just to do another video and inspect it, as it's the first one we've done like this. But just so we can see if the anti-foul's nearly gone already, then we'll just put another coat of the anti-foul on, and hold our hands up and say, well, maybe it didn't work as well as I thought. Then above the top rubbing strip to the gunnel line, there was another product. That was a Craftmaster product called Riddle. Nigel, he does like to, as soon as he's got a little mark, a scratch on the boat, he does like to cover it up straight away before any more damage gets caused, or risk of any blistering or paint stripping back, with water getting behind it. So he does like to touch up all the time. So what we decided to go for, which isn't my norm, because I must admit I'm a 2-pack believer, but because again the 2-pack hardeners, the base coats are fine, but the hardeners go off very quick and easy if they get air into the tins, and it was a bit of a drag for Nigel. He fed up of swapping tins over and that. So we still had a high build epoxy primer under the gunnels, and obviously our finishing primers and our standard system. It was only the top coat went to a single pack, just for pure ease of application for Nigel. He can have a tin which won't go off. It's got a good shelf life on it. It's actually quite a nice product. It's a matte finish, so again quite easy to touch up. For Nigel, it was a really good decision. He's got a bit more of a matte finish, so it's easier to maintain, and like I say, it's just quick and easy. It's one tin. As soon as he sees a bit of damage, he'll be out there and repair it within minutes. So top sides, again, was a system we've used before and done videos on, so I won't go too mad on it, but it was the base coat and clear coat system. So yeah, we use a base and clear. So we've put all our colours on. Then we've put the clear coat over the whole boat, so everything was well sealed up and all done. Then we had to sand that back with a 400 grit. And then the sign writer's come in, and he's had to use a special hardener. Comes in from America for the one-shot paints that he uses for the sign writing. So we've had to put an additional sort of hardener in. He's done all the sign writing before we put our top coats on, our final clear coat. And you know, there's a lot of colours on the boat, a lot of fancy patterns, coach lines, like a coach line around the front bow and diamonds, and so there was a lot of artwork going on there, which took a lot of time and effort. And that's why we've done it this way, and then we've put a clear coat over the whole lot, so all the sign writing, all the diamonds at the front, so everything, and it's come out absolutely perfect. It's shiny, all the lines are nice and clean and crisp, and you know, and it's been sealed in now with the clear coat. So now that sign writing isn't going to deteriorate at all, because it's only the ultraviolet lights and you know the sunshine that deteriorates the paint's gloss level. But that's only now really attacking the clear coat, which is a clear 2-pack acrylic urethane, which is, you know, very very hard wearing, and you know, it's got great UV protection. So it's a real good product, and that's sealed all your colours in. Again, if there is any damage, we can literally wet flat that and polish it back. It really has sealed all his sign writing in, and it was amazing to see, you know, because it was quite dull compared with normal. He normally puts the sign writing on top of our gloss, which makes his look even more shiny and glossy. Whereas this way, because we'd sanded it back, there was no sort of gloss level to the sign writing. And it did look a bit strange. I thought, oh, I hope this is going to work. But yeah, then when we started putting our clear coats on, we had to put 2 coats of clear nice and dry, just so it didn't attack into the sign writing too much, and you know, make sure all the solvents had evaporated. And then once we'd put the 2 coats on, we just sanded them back. I actually used a 600 grit, which, because we was in the overcoat window, we still got a chemical bond as well. Normally wouldn't go as fine as that, to be fair, but I knew we was still in a good overcoat window to be able to do that. So we got a really nice flat finish, and the whole finish on the boat was fantastic, really. So really pleased with it. You know, it did come out well. A lot of work, a lot of colours, like I say, lots of different areas, and it has dragged on quite a bit through the painting. But hopefully, you know, that the customers are going to really gain that. You know, if they can just forget about it for 8-9 years, you know, without taking it out, no maintenance. I mean, you know, it's going to save them a lot of money. But vice versa, it's time. You know, they've said that they want to be boating for as long as possible. They are getting older, and you know, they don't want to be in dry docks and taking boats out of the water. They want to be cruising. So, you know, we've took all the maintenance and all the heartache and the worry of, is your boat going to be okay, away from that. So it really has worked out really well on the paint side. Like I say, don't claim to be an expert, and I can't officially say that the anti-foul's going to give that life expectancy. That's my opinion. So, you know, anybody out there who's worked with these products before, it was C-Jet 032 Professional we used, supplied by Marine Industrial. We used their epoxy primer as well, so that we knew there was a really good chemical bond between the 2 products. It's going to be, you know, we've just got to wait and see now, but obviously we know the epoxy system on its own does 6-7 years. So I don't see any reason why this won't last sort of 8, 9, 10 years, you know, but obviously it is going to take a long time to actually find. like it did when we started the epoxy system. But as you've seen on previous videos, you know, that's worked wonders. And this is just a way of making sure your hull is clean, no algae, and keeping the blacking on top of it looking a bit cleaner and tidier. You know, so what the customers sort of, it wasn't a complaint, what they said that they would like to improve. I think they'll have even less maintenance to do on this boat. But like I say, it's going to be the proof's in the pudding, and we'll have to wait and see. In a couple of years, we'll do a video taking it out and see how much anti-foul's left on there. I'm not going to go into too much on the inside and the other bits, because we will do one final video on this boat. We're going to give the customers 5 or 6 weeks to get used to the boat, take it out, do some cruising, use all the new bits that they've had installed on the boat, and then we'll do one last video actually on the boat. Hopefully the weather's nice and we can take it out for a little cruise. We cruised it just around the marina today. It sounded really nice. The prop was good. They added some sound insulation this time, which they never had on their old boats, so that was a bit quieter. There was also a hospital silencer. So they straight away they did say as well, you know, that the loudness of the boat was a hell of a lot quieter than their original boat. So again, that's another, you know, a positive that we've took and we have improved on. But yeah, we'll meet up with Judith and Nigel hopefully in the next 5 or 6 weeks once they've used the boat, and we can see what their opinions are and whether they've had any issues or, you know, anything that they're not happy with. You know, feedback is always good. So hopefully see you soon on the next video.